Florida's capital city, Tallahassee, is the subject of episode 116 of The Family Vacationer, and it starts right now.
Welcome to The Family Vacationer with Rob and Danny. The go-to podcast for families on the move.
Welcome, friends. I'm Rob, and I'm so happy that you've joined me for episode 116 of The Family Vacationer. Now, last week, we took a look at the amusement center of Wisconsin, Wisconsin Dells, otherwise known as the water slide capital of the world. Over 200 water slides and so much natural beauty welcome you to this part of Wisconsin. Definitely recommend you checking out last week's show. Now, don't forget, you can also interact with the show on Instagram and on Facebook and view the video version of the show on YouTube. Now, this week, we move from the water slide capital of the world to the state capital of Florida. Tallahassee comes from a Muskegon Indian word meaning old friends and is known for its rolling red hills, with the highest peak being 200 miles above sea level. The city's rich in history and culture with an abundance of outdoor activities like over 700 miles of trails to explore. It's also home to the #1 disc golf course in the state, Tom Brown Park. Now, with Tallahassee being the state capital, there are several excellent museums to explore. The city is also home to Florida State University and Florida A&M University. FAMU is an excellent place to learn about Florida's impact on African-American culture and vice versa. Foodies, you also won't be disappointed with many unique places to try local foods and drinks. Now, joining me today to talk more about Tallahassee is Kole. Katie's the Senior Marketing Director at Visit Tallahassee. Katie, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
We're glad to have you. So the first question we always like to ask, what makes Tallahassee a family travel destination?
Yeah, so Tallahassee, it's wonderful. You know, we're a mid-sized destination. We have a lot of really great outdoor offerings. We have over 700 miles of trails in Tallahassee. So any families that enjoy the outdoors, Tallahassee is great for that. In addition to that, obviously, we're the state capital of Florida. So there's lots of opportunities to learn, but also have fun while doing so. And so we have a lot of state and local museums for exploring, being the state capital. And then lastly, I'd say the fact that we're a college town. So we're home to 2 major universities, Florida State University and Florida A&M University. So we have a lot of families that come to Tallahassee with teenage kids looking to tour our campus.
Yeah, if you've never seen FAMU's band, that is a show. That is awesome.
Yes, it should be on everyone's bucket list.
It really should. So That's actually a perfect segue. We did a series not too long ago on college towns. So what's Tallahassee like in the fall on a football Saturday?
Oh, it's great. So I would just say, you know, in all honesty, I am born and raised in Tallahassee, so I drank the Kool-Aid fully. But fall is really my favorite season. The weather is really ideal in the fall. It's really crisp and cool, and you know, we're a lot different than the rest of the state of Florida. We have 4 seasons. And so from a weather standpoint, it's awesome. And then again, as you mentioned, you know, 2 universities. So we have 2 opportunities for tailgating. And so the city really starting on like Thursday, Friday of a home game weekend, it just kind of gets alive. And so there's entertainment and activity every Friday night of a home game for either a FAMU or an FSU home game. There's a block party in different parts of town. So kind of the fun begins Friday night and then goes on in through the weekend. And so game days, you know, there's barbecue and all kinds of great stuff around campus, and people are friendly and they're super excited and they love to welcome visitors. And so, yeah, we start tailgating, you know, at the crack of dawn, and we go all day, both at FAMU and FSU. It's a party and it's a lot of fun.
I have to say, I've been to college football games all across the country, and Tallahassee, some of the friendliest fans anywhere you'll go, for sure.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, well earned. So let's go beyond football for a minute. What are some family-friendly activities in the Tallahassee area?
Yeah, so we have a lot of really, really cool museums and kind of, again, outdoor opportunities for people. I'll start with the Tallahassee Museum. It's probably one of my favorite spots in town, especially for families, and certainly a place that I took my son almost every weekend when he was growing up. But it's a 52-acre natural history museum. It has animals there that are all indigenous to Florida.
Wow.
So Florida panthers and wolves and bobcats, and they're all in their natural habitat. And so you can kind of see how they live in the wild. But the museum also has an outdoor zip line adventure course, and they have
Cool.
3 different levels of the zip line adventure course. So the itty bitty kids can do it all the way to the big kids, and you're literally zipping over wildlife, animals, and it's cool. It's a really, really cool experience. So the Tallahassee Museum is one of my favorite family-friendly activities in Tallahassee. I'd also touch on Wakulla Springs.
Okay.
Wakulla is located just south of Tallahassee, and it is really kind of a glimpse into old Florida. So it's one of the world's largest and deepest freshwater springs, and
Cool.
they do boat tours. And what's pretty unique about this, it's a state park, and the state park, the river is actually cut off to any kayakers or boaters. So the entire river that you're able to kind of access through these boat tours is wild. So you'll
That's
see
awesome.
all kinds of animals. And again, it's really kind of a glimpse into old Florida. It's beautiful. I love it. So if you, a lot of people want to see alligators. We see alligators all the time living in Florida, but if people want to see them, that's, where I send them. And then, we do get some rain sometimes. So on rainy days, the Challenger Learning Center, it's located downtown. It has a space mission simulator, a space station laboratory, a planetarium, IMAX theater. So that's a great place. We've got also 2 family entertainment centers, Hangar 38 and District 850, that offer kind of bowling and games and things like that. And then, as I mentioned, outdoors is huge, 700 miles of trail. So people that are interested in outdoors, I highly recommend it. And we have a really cool park right down in downtown called Cascades Park. It's a 24-acre park downtown. It's got trails. It has an interactive water fountain. Kids love that. Especially in the summer, there's kids all over the place, and playgrounds, and it's a really cool place as well.
I'm just surprised there are people that come to Tallahassee looking for gators.
I know.
I thought that maybe to cook.
I know.
Maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
That's what it is. They get confused. They got lost.
Well, with it being Florida, lots of people will probably be curious. What's the closest beach to Tallahassee, and how far is it?
Yes. So we are located again in the top of the Florida Panhandle. We are really close to the closest beach. So for a white sandy beach, I'd recommend either Alligator Point or St. George Island. Alligator Point's about a 45-minute drive, and St. George Island's about an hour and a half. But the coast is only about 20 miles south of Tallahassee. So if you want to get to just see water, you only have to go about 20 miles. But if you want to get to a beach, it's about 45.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk festivals or events. What are some festivals and events in Tallahassee that would be of interest to families?
Yeah, so spring is really kind of our festival season. So we're gearing up for that right now. Again, kind of as I mentioned before, we have 4 seasons here in Tallahassee. The spring is spectacular. It's really cool. It's a beautiful day today. And our blooms, the whole city's just in full bloom. So kind of to kick off our springtime season is the Springtime Tallahassee. That's taking place this year, the last weekend in March. And it's a 2-day festival. It always features a free concert on the first night. This year, they have country music star Chris Lane, who's going to be coming in on Friday night. And then Saturday is the parade. They have over 100 floats, marching bands, and performers. And then they have like a whole kids village. So Springtime Tallahassee is a really great family-friendly event that I would recommend. Another one that's really kind of unique and cool is the Lemoyne Chain of Parks Art Festival. That this year is taking place April 15th through the 16th. And so downtown in Tallahassee, we have this iconic chain of parks, and it's beautiful. Again, just this really beautiful, park system that runs through our downtown area. And they basically turn our chain of parks into a natural art gallery. So they have artists that come in from all over the country to sell their artwork. And they also do like chalk art and local food and craft beer vendors. And they have a children's art activities. They always have a different theme. This year's theme is all on birds and nature. And so they'll be building bird houses with kids. And it's a really cool, beautiful event. And then I'll just touch on a couple more.
Sure.
Another one is Word of South. So this is a 3-day festival, and it features kind of a combination of literature and music. This one's taking place April 21st through 23rd, and it will have concerts and readings, and there's always like a author that comes in with his children's book. For example, Tony Hales from Tallahassee, he wrote a children's book, and he's come in years past and read that. So, there's always some really cool things for adults and kids. And then the last one that I'll mention, and this is year round, is the FSU Circus. So at Florida State University has a circus. It's one of only 2 collegiate circuses in the entire United States.
Oh, wow.
And you can see them. They do a spring series and then a fall series. And so all April long, they'll be doing their circus, and they're amazing. So that's a really great thing for families to come and do too.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
Well, obviously with Tallahassee being a capital city, you've got the full complement of national chain hotels, all other kind of lodging options. But can you call out some that might be a good stay for visiting families?
Yes, absolutely. So, we've had kind of a boom of new hotels lately. One in particular that I would recommend is the AC Marriott. It's located right downtown, next to Cascades Park. It's actually in Cascades Park, that park I was mentioning with all the walkways. There's restaurants, all kinds of stuff. So there's lots of rooms for kids to kind of go out and explore. You can take your kids out to that splash zone that I was talking about, and then you're right there at the hotel that you can dry them off. Another great option is the Hyatt House. It's more of an extended stay hotel, but it's within walking distance to FSU and FAMU. It's right in between the two. So again, for visiting students, that's a great location. Families for them, that's a great location. And then lastly, for the dog lovers and people that may have left their pups at home, the Aloft Tallahassee downtown, they partner with our local animal shelter, and they always have dogs in their lobby that you can pet and snuggle with. So the Aloft is a cool one for those families that are missing their pup and need a little snuggle.
My kids would love that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, we have to ask about the food scene in town. Every family vacationer episode, we always talk about the food scene. So what are some restaurants that families have to visit when they're in Tallahassee?
So Tallahassee's food scene, it's been hopping lately. We've got some pretty cool things, but that are brewing up, I guess, if you will. But one that I think is a must visit for all families, it's Momo's Pizza. So their whole thing, they're known for slices as big as your head, and their slices are huge, and kids just love it. Like, they just can't get enough of it. It's a great location for just a quick pizza, but again, a huge slice of pizza.
Right.
Another must stop for families is Lofty Pursuits. So it's part restaurant, part toy store, part candy store, part ice cream store. It's a really kind of eclectic shop, but it's like internationally known for their handmade candy. So they do have this like Victorian era machinery that they make candy with, and you can watch them make it. It's really cool and it's delicious. But kids love it, and you can eat, you can get a snack, you can get candy, you can buy toys, you can do it all. So that's another great location. And then breweries are so hot right now.
Yeah.
And we always want to include mom and dad in when we talk about family travel. So I would also recommend Proof Brewery and Brew Pub. So that is one of our local breweries. It's great. They've got an expansive beer garden. They've got awesome food. They do a great brunch. And it's open and welcome for kids and pets. And they have games and lawn games. So it's a really great family-friendly kind of location as well.
Perfect. Well, you mentioned, that parents come with their kids to look at either FSU or FAMU. With that being considered, what are parts of the town that parents would fall in love with when they brought their student, and what are maybe some parts of town that the kids would enjoy? It may be similar for both groups, or it may be different.
So I would say, I think parents and kids would fall in love with College Town. So College Town is essentially a development that FSU put together. Gosh, it's probably been 10 years now that College Town has been around, but it's basically an entire area right next to FSU's campus where there's restaurants and shopping and bars and all kinds of stuff. And it just kind of has a vibe about it, a college vibe. So you really get that college experience. I would definitely recommend for families that are going to go to College Town, check out Madison Social. Great restaurant. It overlooks Stoke Campbell Stadium. They've got great food, and it's just kind of a must visit for anyone that's coming here. Another really cool area that I would recommend for families would be Railroad Square. So Railroad Square, it's located right in between the two campuses. So it's close to College Town. It's located between Florida State and FAMU. And it's an artist community. And so it's super trendy, but it was a former lumber yard that they turned into an art district. And so there are vintage shops, but they have a lot of local artists that have their stores there that you can just walk around and see them doing their artwork. And it's just a really kind of cool location. It's a big square, and again, with lots of shopping and dining, and just to walk around there. One place in particular that would be a great spot for kids that kids would love. It's called Crumb Box, and it's a restaurant, but where they make their own sausages. They do handmade sausages and sandwiches, but it's an old red caboose train car that they've turned into a restaurant. So kids, anyone that likes trains would love that as well.
Awesome. Well, with people coming in for football games or basketball games, coming in and out quickly, what are some things that they might miss if they're just coming in for like a weekend? What are some things that tourists normally miss when they're just coming in for short stays?
So one is Bradley's Country Store. And that's a shame because it's about 100 years old, and it's a family-run country store, and they're known for their smoked sausages and their stone ground grits, and you can get sausage dog while you're out there. But one thing that I love about Bradley's is the drive out to it. It's located on Tallahassee has 9 protected canopy roads that are just as beautiful as you can imagine. We have these really huge live oak trees in Tallahassee, and so they kind of come together to create this canopy. So the drive out to Bradley's is cool. And then, I don't know, it's like stepping back in time. So Bradley's is certainly kind of one on the list that I think probably a lot of parents and families that are coming through maybe don't add to their list or don't get a chance to see because it's a little bit out of the way.
Right.
And then another one is McClay Gardens. McClay Gardens is a state park, and especially this time of year, gosh, it is a place to visit. It is just a masterpiece of floral architecture. I mean, the flowers there are spectacular, and it's a really good picturesque location. I know a lot of families try to get like a family picture for their Christmas card. This is a great location for that. It's perfect. There's a lake and all kinds of stuff. So McClay Gardens, another one. And then I guess the last one I would mention is St. Mark's National Wildlife Refuge and Lighthouse. So that's located just south of Tallahassee, kind of close to Wakulla Springs that I was mentioning earlier. But it's one of the oldest refuges in the U.S. And it's a great spot if you like outdoors and you like wildlife viewing. There's a plethora of wildlife, but one of my favorite things currently about St. Mark's, and I actually have not had a chance this year to go visit, but Pinky is the name of the resident flamingo. So during Hurricane Michael, there's not flamingos in North Florida, but during Hurricane Michael, Pinky, as we have named her, came up and actually set up shop in the refuge and has lived there since Hurricane Michael. And so you can go and spot her. And again, she's very pink because there's lots of seafood just for her to be eating. And so a lot of people go to St. Mark's to try to get a view of Pinky. It's pretty cool, our resident flamingo.
That's awesome. Well, you may have already mentioned some of these, but putting you on the spot, when you have family and friends that visit from out of town, where do you take them?
Where do I take friends and family? So I like to eat. So we usually we eat a lot. So I'll take up to some of my favorite restaurants. I love Il Luso. That's one of my favorite restaurants right now. It's located downtown. Black Radish is another excellent vegetarian restaurant. I'm not vegetarian, but it's excellent. So I usually take them to eat. We'll go kayaking. So the Wasissa is a really cool place to go kayaking. Again, a lot of natural beauty. So I'll take my friends and family there. And typically we go to Wakulla Springs and do that boat tour. So those are kind of the top list. Or if it's a friend that's coming back to FSU, I'll give them a tour of campus, because man, has that changed since the days that we went there.
Yeah, I haven't been, it's been a while. It's been a minute, maybe 1994, 98, somewhere around there. And I was just seeing pictures of campus, and I'm like, that's Tallahassee. There's so much that's changed. It's awesome.
It's wild. It's changed so much.
Well, for more information on taking your family to Tallahassee, consult your travel agent and go to visitallahassee.com. Katie, thanks so much for being on the show.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I had a great time.
Hey everyone, if you're ready to plan your next family vacation, call my dad. He would love to help you as a certified travel agent. He never charges a fee to help you plan your vacation. Email him at rjones@starstufftravel.com. Get started planning your vacation today.
Well, that does it for this week. Next week, you don't want to miss. If you've wanted to visit an all-inclusive resort, but you've got questions about the experience, this show is for you. All-Inclusive 101 is next week's show. Don't miss it. Till next time.
Thank you for listening to The Family Vacationer. Make sure and subscribe to hear more of Rob and Danny.